This lesson is about how you save and export your photos from Adobe Lightroom Classic CC. So once you've done your editing, either in the Develop tab or in the library, you can select the photos you want to export. You can Control or Command click, depending on if you're a Mac or PC, to select multiple photos at random, or you can select one and then Shift click to select a series of photos. You can also go into your library. It might be easier to select photos this way in this view. And you can increase or decrease the size of the thumbnails to be able to see them. So I have a few photos selected. Then we're going to go up to File, Export, or you can click the keyboard shortcut, Shift Command E, or you can click this Export button down here. All right, so let's go through all of these options starting at the top. First is where you are going to export. Typically, you're just going to do a hard drive unless you want to email it or burn it to a CD or DVD. Nowadays, hard drive is really where you're going to export it, and then you do whatever you want, like posting it online or burning it or whatever. Next, you choose your location. So if you want to export to a specific folder, they have some sort of quick hit options like your desktop, your home folder, your pictures folder, the same folder as the original photo. What I'm going to do is a specific folder, and then down below you choose the folder by clicking choose. It's going to open up your Finder, or if you're on a PC, your documents. Now let's go into Lightroom Classic CC. I'm going to create a new folder by clicking the new folder button and calling edits. Click create, click choose. All right, so the next thing you can do is you could put it into a subfolder in that folder. So you might be like, this is round one or whatever, but I'm just going to leave it as that. And then let's just skip to file naming. It gives you all kinds of custom options for naming. You could name it as the file name, which just saves it as whatever the name of the file was, except in the format that you're saving it to, which could be like JPEG or as a raw photo. We'll get to that down here. Or you can do some sort of sequencing. And that's what I love about Lightroom. It makes it easy to create a sequence of images. So I'm going to choose custom name sequence, and I'll call this Lightroom Classic CC Edit. And then you start the sequence at a number. You can do 01, you can do it started at 10, you can do it at really whatever, and it will export them and do it, name it this, and then 1, then this, then 2. All right, so video we're going to skip because we're not exporting video. For file settings, right now it's on original, which is, it would save it as the raw file format that it came in. We're going to choose JPEG. They also have PSD, which is a Photoshop file, TIFF, and DNG. Those are more advanced files, but you really don't have to worry about those options unless there's a case where someone asks you, do you have a TIFF image? Usually JPEG is perfectly fine for exporting and saving online or using in any sort of graphic or printing even. Once you select JPEG, you have the quality. Leave it at 100 unless you want to decrease the quality to save space to make the file size a little bit smaller. You can either do that by decreasing the slider here, or if you have a specific file size, check this limit file size to, and then put in the number of, I believe that's kilobytes, that you save it to. So 1000 kilobytes or 1 megabyte might be the limit that you have for uploading a video online, or if you're posting your photos to your own website or portfolio to make sure that your web page loads fast enough, you might want to limit to a specific size like 1000K. For space or color space, just leave it as sRGB. Down below, you can resize the image. So notice that there's two different things. File settings and limit file size is about the size of the file. The image size is the dimensions and the pixels of your image. So if you have a specific pixel length or width or height that you want it at, you can check resize to fit. And then you would pick either or both width and height that you have a max of. So say for your website, you only want to upload images that are 500 pixels wide, and you can change it from pixels to inches or centimeters. Usually we're working with pixels on a computer. So the width will be a max at 500, And then if you leave the height blank, it will end up being whatever it is depending on the aspect ratio. So if it's a portrait, the height will probably be taller than or greater than the width. If it's a landscape or a horizontal photo, the height will be shorter than 500. So let me just put this at 1000 to show you as an example. Or I always recommend choosing this don't enlarge so that it doesn't actually enlarge your image if you're working with an image that is too small or something, which generally doesn't happen. In terms of resolution, this is pixels per inch. That's usually what I would use. Here in the States, if you work in another country, you might be more used to pixels per centimeter. 150 is a general good rule for images that you're posting online. You could go up to 300 if you are printing. 75 is generally pretty good as well. And changing this will make the file size bigger or smaller. So I generally just leave it at 150. They have this option for output sharpening, which is sort of an automatic sharpening that they add, which might be good for printing. So if you are printing, I would test it out to see if you like it or not. If you've already added sharpening in the development and the editing, you don't need this necessarily. But if you haven't added any sharpening, you might want to just add a little bit of sharpening for matte paper or glossy paper, depending on how you're printing. We talk about printing later on in this course if you're interested in more of that. I generally don't add sharpening for the screen though. If you want to make your file size a little bit smaller, you can decrease the metadata that is included. This is all of the camera information, the copyright information, and so you could just choose copyright only if you want, or contact information. We're almost done, everyone, so hopefully you're still with me. We have a watermark. It's super easy to create a watermark. Just check on that box, go to Edit Watermarks. That's going to open up a new window. Here at the bottom left, you can add your name. And then over on the right, you have all your options for the font size, the opacity. You can have effects, making it less opaque or more opaque. You can also adjust the size over here. You can put it to a specific position if you want it centered. If you want it completely over, the middle, you can do that. So you are just sending a test, you can make it like that. You can also increase the size by clicking and dragging right here on the image as well. Okay, so usually you'll just put something down in the bottom left corner, something like that. You can also add an image by going up to image options and clicking choose. Say you have a logo or something like that, you can add a logo overlay as a watermark. Then you can save it. If you go up to here, click Save Current Setting as a new preset, and then that will be a preset that you can use. So let's go ahead and cancel. Let me just show you if I add the VSO logo. Actually, let's go to Edit Watermark. It adds, this is my old VideoSquan logo, to the bottom left. So that's something that I've saved in the past. I don't generally add watermarks, but it's a good way if you're posting online and you want to make sure that no one is stealing your images, or if they do, at least they have a watermark of your image or of your information on it to do that. Lastly, post-processing. This is just what happens after you're done exporting. Do you want it to show in your Finder or your documents? Do you want to continue editing in Photoshop? Or do you want to do nothing? Usually I just say show in Finder so that I know it will pop up when it's done. Click Export once you're happy with all your settings. And after it goes, you'll see a window pop up. And now we have all my edits. I can see here the size. So all of them are 1000 wide. This one's 1000, 1000, 1000. And because the aspect ratio for all of these images was the same, the width is this, or the height is the same too, 667. JPEG, the size of each image is a little bit different. That just has to do with some of the editing, the colors, and things that adjust, that change how much information is in an image. Now we can take these photos, share them with the world, post them on Instagram, post them online, share them with your family, print them out, and that's how you export with Adobe Lightroom. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you in another lesson.